Peace, peace, peace. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Right? As you can see right down here, hold on. As you can see right down here, it's the ongoing attack on Tupac, his image and legacy. Why? What is to gain by this action? Huh? You notice, especially, I'm going to say it, the Rainbow Crew, the Smash Keyboard Crew, the gay community, right? They need to be the ones who, especially, Queen Latifah, T-Pain, he said some stuff that made me take him as gay. Seen him do some stuff that made me say, okay, he gay, right? And if he ain't gay, he damn sure trying to get acceptance and recognition. So, why was it, or why is it necessary to bring Tupac up in these conversations? Pardon me here. Let me put my headphones on. Turn my hat back. Right? So, the question is, why? Why is it necessary to put this man in any conversation of negativity? Why? Because these are all agents to submissive Black America. They need you, because first I was calling out Ice-T, right? And remember, he was broken from New Jack City on. He came out with the Cop Killer song, and his ass can't play nothing but a cop on TV. Right? That's his legacy now. Being the dude who was, the cop killer dude to now being only a cop. Right? So when he was down with the whole, what do you call them? It was like this, not Jimmy Henchman. What's the other dude from out of Brooklyn? Haitian Jack. He was like Haitian Jack. Like he was on the show with Big U and all of these people. But that show just made me feel like it was to assassinate Pac's legacy, right? Oh, he wasn't really, this street dude. Okay. Why do having to be for the people require you to be street? I'm confused. Because if you street, the street people don't give a fuck about the people. They are predators to the people. I've been in the streets, and I've always taken a rebellious stance, and so a lot of the street people assume that I'm in the same category as them. That's the reason why I would always roll alone and still be street. You know what I mean? Because I understood that there were certain things in the means of survival, but I didn't go in the streets with surviving off of my people. So even if I indulged in selling drugs or stuff like that, it was never in the sense of so I can get the new J's and wear these clothes and wear these chains and drive this kind of car. No, so I was in the streets, and I've always was hands-on and giving the message. Sometimes, you be right there and it gives you an opportunity to understand people. I always had a desire to understand. I told you at 9 years old, I used to sit on, the bench inside the projects, and at it could be at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm sitting on that bench looking at life and understanding the concepts and the the mindset of our people as they walk by the things that they discussing. And so, I understood the difference. So I never went in there with this predator mindset. I never went into this as a way to take advantage of the people, but I also understood, just like Pac had to find out, that everybody is not getting the message. They are not there for the message. They're like Kane with the dude in the car. You know what I mean? Robbing them and now you would get out of here with that, that black shit and all of that. That's what majority of the streets was. You know what I mean? So when people make this, this, oh, he wasn't really Thug and Hood. Yes, he was. Because when it came time for him to defend his people, he didn't know that those white cops were cops. He just knew that they were doing something to a black person and he reacted. You understand what I'm saying? The difference. So whatever image that you try to paint of the man, paint that image. But for these people, it's just necessary to attack him. Attack his legacy, attack his imagery. And it's easy to do that when you put it in the hands of the youth and they are misunderstanding, the message. So they will allow, somebody to say he the white Pac or this dude being a liar and saying he the gay Tupac. And, you got these white feminists running around talking about keep your head up. And Tupac was talking about all women. See, they can do that because the mandatory thing is to use him for credibility and overlook his message. So when I came across, this, it says, hold on. It says, Boosie disagrees with T-Pain. The lyrics in songs these days last a couple of years and they're gone because they don't have meaning. Right? And so I agree with him. If let me go into the other part right here, right? Where he says, Tupac was a great lyricist. I don't, in the sense of what, people in hip hop consider lyricists, metaphors and all of that, they wouldn't consider him that. I would, but they wouldn't because they are used to, my gun like a dinosaur, let the flames out when it raw. You know what I mean? They want stuff like that. They don't want, lyrics to make you think and lyrics to make you feel. So this is why it's mandatory for them to assassinate his image. Right? Because today's music, or even the music of our time, I remember people were not fans of Tupac until he got shot. Right? And then it was the East Coast, West Coast war, and that's what they were into. So they weren't into Tupac and his message. They were into, East Coast, West Coast, yo, yeah, you heard what he said about fucking his wife, part of my, my French. But this is what they were gravitated to. People who know me know I did not listen to none of that, and I fucks with Pac. But I would not listen to that because that was not the message, and that was not what I listened to Pac for. You know what I mean? I love Tupac for bringing out, Brenda's Got a Baby. I love Tupac for bringing out, not even I Get Around. I'm talking about like Soldier's Story, which was in reference to George Jackson and Jonathan Jackson out in Soledad, and going and, trying to free his brother from a situation. This was the Pac that I listened to. So the first three albums of Pac, Strictly for My Niggas and or no, what is it? Thug Life, because that's the one he got shot on, Tupacalypse Now. And then after that, when he went to the Machiavelli, I went back to dealing with Pac. And when he, when they released Are You Still Down? That's when I was like, yes, man, this is what Pac was about. This was what I listened to. This was what I was on them streets about. I was not there for conflict with my people. It just so happens once you take this lifestyle, of rebelling, you have signed up to make yourself an enemy amongst your people, because now it's you getting in the way of their dollars and you know what I mean? So the predator mindset of don't snitching had nothing to do with you defending the people when you get locked up, and the message is no snitching. Listen, these are not our friends. We came here with these as our enemies, right? But no snitching in the black community only means whenever I do something to you, you don't tell the cops. You allow it to happen, or you bust your gun, like you stab this person, and then you wind up in that system. And then again, all you doing is fighting against your people. So then you are lost in the source, because the people, there's two type of blacks, right? Three really, but there's two which we see. Anybody who takes these actions over here as a criminal is also against them, because they signed up for white America, right? So they're gonna hold the same views as white America when it comes down to the conflict with your people. Right? But those same people will give out this imagery of, if you violate me. So then they speak as these thugs. If you violate me, word up, I would do this, I would do that. No, you wouldn't. Because you don't want to be in the same position where you constantly have to be at odds with your people. So then you allow them, your people to violate you, and you start gravitating towards white America, because at least in white America there are boundaries. Black people don't have boundaries. We don't understand that. Listen, man, there's a group of people in the streets, right, who have no love. Then we have the third party. The third party is, people like myself. I'm not going to have you violate me, but at the same time, you do not see me rolling with those group of people. I do not, I know some of them. I was the type to know the livest dudes. Right? Not the whole squad. It wasn't my necessary meanings to need to know everybody that's on this block. I might say what's up to them because they know that I know XYZ. Right? And now me being the type of person who went in the streets and, was living out the message. You know what I mean? Going in when the black kids, got their face shoe polished, I'm one of the people who organized. I'm gonna get into that story one day of organizing and actually going back, and I'm gonna show you the news clippings of everything, of me going back and getting revenge for those kids. When Roots was on TV, I always say I'm probably one of the people that got that shit stopped being shown. Not because it was shit and it wasn't good. It was because of what it told me. These devils did this. I relate to the people that they did it to. So I'ma take it out on them. So since Tupac, yeah, I'm one of them dudes that was out there wilding and all of that. I wasn't one of them people that was trying to take it out on my people. But when you mess with people, right, you wind up in situations where you gotta defend yourself or defend your people against even your people. So then you get caught up in the whirlwind over here. Because when you give the message, there's always the devil there. Oh, but you did this. And it's hard for you to get the message out of, yeah, I did that because I'm not going to be against, the devil and then have the black devil thinking that he can hide and still be performing the same actions. So, it became a washing machine or a blender. Everything was just thrown in there. You know what I mean? And so this is why I say that, when All Eyes on Me and Me Against the World came out, that was the situation that I was living in when it came to, my people. Now you down for beefing with us. You signed up for beefing with your own people. That's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? So, for me, I do not see a revolution being born, because even as we go into this, it goes, Boosie badass. Tupac was a great lyricist. You probably wouldn't understand if you never been through the struggle that this world brings. T-Pain, I disagree. The lyrics in songs these days last a couple of years and they're gone because they don't have meaning. The lyrics don't touch the heart, right? So, and me, I don't really mess with Boosie because he defended, what's this dude, R. Kelly. I don't know. I don't listen to R. Kelly music. Hey, most people would tell you I've been a critic of R. Kelly for a long, long fucking time. Right? I mean, long. I mean, you remind me of your Jeep long, and like from back then, I was never a R. Kelly fan. Right. So, for me, this is why, like I said, I'll mess with my peoples, but then I'm always standing alone. I'm standing alone because I'm standing on certain principles, meaning that if my peoples do not violate, I will not put the energy into fighting and fussing with them. That's just me as a person. So the best way to avoid fighting and fussing with your people at this point would only be, pardon me here, would only be to stay away from them. You know what I mean? It's like we only have that option when it comes to our people. You know what I mean? You support them, but then you can't, because then that support, if it turns into them using it against us, then, you become ridiculed for supporting that part of the message. Like this right here is what I support. Plain and simple. I support that. But I do not know the person to stand by them, or when I do converse with them and I see that they are just out there for, the chaos, and they'll have this beef with the devil only because, of whatever reason. They killed a black person today. I stand on the grounds of two things when it even comes to that. Well, was they for the people the whole time? Right? Because if they were for the people the whole time, I'ma support them. Meaning that, this black person got killed, but it wasn't because they wound up in a conflict with black people that they decide that they have a problem with, because they had a beef with, like the police. They get shot. Now all of a sudden they, we black. But when, Sean Bell I always mention Sean Bell. Anybody who knows me knows, why. So, when if you wind up in these situations, then all of a sudden, everybody is black, right? But when you out here doing fucked up shit to your people, are you black then? You understand what I'm saying? Because people can tell you, when I was young, we be trooping to do whatever we doing, and I'm still giving this message. And as if I see that you are not with it, then I gradually, drift away. That's why people be like, yo, damn, you don't come through. Like, yeah, I'll come through. I'll come check you out again. Hopefully when I come back around, the message will be received. If it's not received, then I'm out again. I don't have the time for the constant conflict amongst the people. Because it's never ending. Because when you go in jail and these type of things, this is what you're gonna keep having to face. Those same conflicts with the same people that you did not want to conflict with. So for me, when I see, the attack on Tupac, I feel that these are the agents sent in to assassinate his image. Because if you assassinate his image, you assassinate his message. Right? So when what's the brother, George Floyd got killed, right? I remember talking to somebody, and the motherfucker told me I was suicidal because I'm saying that, there's gonna be, actions taken. This is before the riots and all of that happened. I'm being told, I'm suicidal because, I don't have nobody to love, like anything. This is a black person talking to me, right? To justify me not being genuine on my train of thought. It has to be something outward. It has to be, because of this or that. No, it's me, inside of me, knowing. Right, so then the motherfucker went running around. He this, he that, right? And so people hitting me up. So I literally stopped knowing people. If you can't see what I'm saying, then you are fucking blind. You know what I mean? Like, you are blind. You can't see it. So then when the George Floyd, when the whole world and you see people coming out, I know he felt stupid. I don't talk to him no more, but I know he felt stupid because I told him, right? And now I'm looking, I don't even know if he ever posted anything, but if he did, he's a fucking hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. Why? Because here it is. You had the opportunity to even just support that. You don't necessarily, listen, there are two type of people, right? When it comes to change, those who are physical and those who are supporting the physical change. You don't have to always be the person out there throwing a brick. You can be a nurse, a doctor, you can be whatever. But you stand by these situations. You don't be a hypocrite, and then the minute you see everybody, upset about it, then all of a sudden you care. Nah, you were supposed to care, and even if it ain't for you to go out there and throw a brick, that's cool. But don't turn around. They look at them. They stealing TVs, and hey, I don't care what they doing. Just don't do it within the neighborhood. Don't burn down no stores in this neighborhood or any urban neighborhood. Burn down all their stuff. Make them come and have to get it in your neighborhood. And let them see how it feels to be the odd and looked at strange. Then you ain't got to do nothing to them. But you just have them in a situation where now you can make money off of them, but you can also still give them the side eye. You can lock your door because you know the Buffalo shooters, and you are allowed to treat them in the way that they've treated you for 400 years in America. That's my stance. So Tupac gave this message. So me being a youth, you know, poor righteous teachers, Paris from out of Chicago, you know, Public Enemy, of course. You know, like I never, you know, even when Professor Griff, you know, went down to Florida and he came out with his group, you know, after being kicked out of Public Enemy. I was actually mad at Public Enemy, you know, because of that. And that's just how I started listening to Professor Griff, right? But I don't listen to him now, but what I'm saying at that time, because this is me always, Ice Cube, King T, Black Together Again. Like, people would not understand Tragedy, you know, Intelligent Hoodlum, Arrested President. These were my musics. But if you saw me, you're labeling me this, you know, this street dude, because you can't rebel against a system working within the system, because then you're a hypocrite. But then, if you don't want to work with the system, then everybody labels you the other group. Oh, you just a predator. You just another predator and terrorist on your community. No. As a time when you have to fight the people within your community. They have that on their mind. So, when I listen to the attacks on Tupac, I understand that it's these one of the two. He's not really tough because he wasn't out there busting his gun on his people. That should not be the ideology of a thug. A thug had nothing to do. There was honor amongst the thugs. You know what I mean? They were going after the outside people, and I'm talking about the religion, thuggy religion, right? Where they had to use, you know, the Indian, you know, police would use these specially trained elephants to step on the heads of the persecuted thugs, you know, and so this is what basically brought that system down, the terror of knowing that this could be you. You understand what I'm saying? So when we look at the Tupacs, you know, and we allow these cowards to attack his imagery, we got to question ourselves. We got to go, well, what did you stand for? Oh, the same dude, yeah, you know, I was talking about earlier, he's surprised that I know, you know, I messed with Cube. Like, yeah, dude, like, these were the dudes, like, he's like, oh, it was somebody he was asking me against, and I'm like, nah, I don't listen to him, you know, and then I'm like, I don't listen. He was like, you don't listen to Cube. Then he put it on, and he's looking at me because I know word for word these songs. I'm like, yo, America Most Wanted was probably one of the best albums ever. But you wouldn't think that because you have an image in your head of what the streets are. And so if you out there, then you must have been out there for this reason. Same guy again. Oh, he's showing me his boy who was selling drugs and he bought this like house or something. And, you know, I'm like, yo, you know, if that's what he was into, I was not into it for the dollars. I would make money and that shit wouldn't mean nothing to me. You wouldn't even know I was making money. I wasn't dressing like that. I wasn't wearing the chains. You know what I mean? I'm paying my bills and I'm staying low. I'm putting other people on. You know, I had my my homegirls, you know, when she had, one of them had a daughter at the time. You know, they wound up taking her daughter away, right? But I remember, giving her work, telling her, give me back X amount. And, when she got her money, I'm literally taking her with me to get exactly what I'm getting, from the same people, same prices with her money. So at no point in time was it ever a predator's mindset. It's okay, I'm going to help you get on. You understand what I'm saying? So here, you take this ounce, bubble it off. I got my work, I'm bubbling it, right? She give me back X amount. See, whatever money I tell her, you just save your money, don't spend it. She young, so she was, gonna do whatever. But then when, like she was getting her money from the state or whatever, I'm taking her right with me. I remember one time we was on 125th in Manhattan, right? Cause that's where like the Metro North trains was at the time. Well, still there. So, cause I was up in Connecticut. So we was, always different ways of going back and forth. So I remember we was on 125th and she had like a blue bandana. This is in the 90s. So just think of that. So she had this blue bandana, and I seen these young kids, looking and surrounding her. She wasn't even aware. She's not even from New York. So she was out there with me, right? And I seen, so I had to stop them. I'm cool. I'm hip to the game. So I'm like, nah, she don't bang. Boom, boom, boom. And so, she looking, and I'm like, yo, take that off your head. I told you already, so ever since then she was like, wow, you know what I mean? And she understood, and that I'm really hip to the game. I really know what's going on. I understood the science of my people before I understood the science of theirs. So when I think of Tupac, when I think of the people really who attack his image, I have a major beef with them. Because how dare you come after somebody like, he wasn't a great lyricist. Name this great lyricism that you ever put out. You had songs that people like, sure. That don't mean you was a great lyricist. You was poppy, catchy. Tupac wasn't a song and dance type dude, even though you could see him when he was hanging with Digital Underground. Now, this is what I mean about, attacking his image. Right, you'll see him with Digital Underground, and you got these statements. Are we not supposed to have fun? I was a hoodlum. I still knew dudes who danced and, went to the clubs and we had fun. Shit, we almost got killed going to parties simply for having fun. No more, no less. Just out there having fun. So, I understood the concept. I understood that our people just don't want to see you in no way but miserable. And if you happy, you can only be happy if you got it from working with, the white man. If you say anything negative about the white man, oh, here we go with this again. No, it's not that. So then when you see Proud Boys and all of this, I'm looking at them like, what? What happened now? I told you this was going on, but you didn't care. You knew when you was at work with them, you heard the little slick comments. You just let it roll off. But that ain't, just because you did that don't mean you're safe. And that don't mean your children are safe. So you can have that cool demeanor to where you know how to slide through white society, but you should not think the Steven. You know what I mean? You should not think Steven. What's his name from Samuel Jackson and Django. You understand what I'm saying? You should not think that way. You should be, I know how to maneuver through this society, but if anything goes down, I'm riding with my people because I know what it is. I know because I'm hearing them make the little slick comments to me, and I'm hanging around these motherfuckers. But they don't think like that. You know what I mean? They don't think like that. It's their mind is not able to grasp both sides. So I commend Boosie, for speaking up for Tupac. I feel that all the people who were really, understanding of Tupac should not allow his image to be assassinated. I don't care if these other entertainers, Queen Latifah, oh, he went with me in a gay bar. Bitch, you gay. You gay. He hanging out with you. You understand what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden, he taking his shirt off. If I'm correct, you gay, you inside a gay club. So I'm assuming that there were females inside that club as well, right? Now, I'm not gonna say I would do that. You know what I mean? But it's not the point. It's not the fucking point. The point is everybody taking an attack on him. It's like, Tension, what is it, Triple X, something like that, died. Oh, he was like Pac. Why? Because he wrote emote music. He wrote music about depression and all of that. Tupac didn't write depressing music. You know what I mean? But if you felt him, if he had some type of energy, I don't know. I never listen to his music, Tension. You know what I mean? But, okay. But then, then it goes beyond that. And now everybody, the white Tupac, the gay Tupac, get the fuck out of here with this. None of you motherfuckers are doing and giving the message Pac gave. None of you. You are putting out music and you need to associate yourself with somebody. I tell everybody the young community today is living out Tupac and Biggie's West Coast beef. Those 5 minutes of fame. You know what I mean? That's what's going on right now. The going out of town or going over here, locations and stuff going down. And you want to talk crap about the youth, but you was playing that music in their ear from when they was growing up. People can tell you they don't never really hear me listening to music, so I guess they'd be surprised to find out that I don't really like that. I never liked Mobb Deep and, all of that. I just wasn't into that music. I really was out there, so I knew what that music was doing. I knew people could, people right now could come and go, oh, he's hating on. If you knew me then, you would say, nah, he was really on it back then too. He didn't listen to that stuff. You would think I did due to the fact of the lifestyle you assumed I was living based on the lifestyle I was living. Like there's a lifestyle that seems to emulate the other, right? To be a revolutionist, in the sense of the physical. You could be a mental revolutionist and support those who are in the physical. So there's two differences. So the mental revolutionist can be at work, right? And you would see him and you would probably assume, because that's why I don't say everybody who go to work is a coon and this, that, and the third. No. So you would be assuming that because he's in one area of living that he's not the other. He's not a revolutionist, because he works over here. I don't see the difference. You know what I mean? He's mentally prepared. He's putting himself in a position, and he's supporting those for the revolution and the physical. Right? So then we have the physical, those who, bring it through like the sword, like the Druze say. Right? So those who's bringing it with the sword. Right? you can't assume everybody is out there for the predatorial against their people. And so there's those who could, like 80% of those on the workforce who worship their master, right? But there's a 20% who's understands the struggle and is there, because they got struggles, they got kids, they got a wife, you know what I'm saying? So they do what needs to be done, but is ready at any point in time for the switchover. And they can hold those positions and make sure that system can still run. They can work in any field. I don't care if it's Con Edison or the sewer systems or whatever, right? If the change came, they can still hold those positions comfortably. Right? And so then you have the warrior class, right? And, with the sword. So they can, be the next generals or whatever because they already understand the physical needing. And those are the 20% on with dealing with the criminal aspect, quote unquote, where they all criminals, but these are the criminals who understand it has nothing to do with me against you. So you have to drop red and blue, green, yellow, and any of those symbols, because then once you leave those alone and once you see anything set up against that, that's the enemy. Automatically that's the enemy, right? So say you starting off with Crips first, right? If one, the Bloods is set up to combat them, it's lost due to the fact that the negative already gave light. And so if you fighting against that, you negative too. But if you set up a system of positivity first with the understanding that we will defend ourselves, anything set up against that, is the enemy. So you got what's the brother New Era movement, right? So now you got New Era brothers, and sisters who are for change, defending their people, but letting their people know we are not with it within our community. We are not, man. This is not going to happen. The change needs to happen. Any system set up against that, is the enemy. I will know. I'll go, wait a minute. What would you have any reason to go against them for? There's no reason for you to go against these people. And that's how you can, for me, discern, like, what's the difference? Like, okay, here go a system that's set up. These brothers and sisters is going out here educating, growing big city to city, and doing their numbers. So if you have any problem with them, you the enemy. So from my train of thought, this is how I always seen it. So I'm not gonna say I never dealt with, criminal elements of a self-hate nature, but that's not what my objective was. My objective was to, one, either utilize them for, me to be able to sustain myself. So knowing somebody who, got drugs or whatever, and I need, that, I'll know you for that. I won't be hanging out with you and, all of that. I'm down. So you're going to make sure that, I can get what I need, right? But I know that you are not necessarily for the people. So after I get what I need, it's peace. So hold it down. And this is what I'm just saying as far as, why is this attack on Tupac? I see it in so many people, right? And I don't mean on Tupac, but on us as a whole. We overlook that we have people that's for us. And once you make the white man the enemy, those on the other side, right? Even though they might be criminal, they are still chasing white things. That's why they don't want you to tell on them and these type of things. They not out there to fight the system. They're out there to aid the system in your removal. They don't want no interruptions with them selling drugs, with them arranging gang fights, because all of that benefits them in white America, if you do not know that. So, thank you to Boosie Badass for, speaking up for Tupac and, for T-Pain. I seen you jumping on men and all type of wild stuff. This is what you get, bro. That's what you get. I'm out. Peace, people.